Hello and welcome to this episode of Connections, Forum for Relationship, Expression and Healing. This is episode 25. Our show offers single episodes and short series of talks and interviews regarding the most important areas in human life, such as relationship issues, personal expression, and self-development, and as well healing of these areas. The purpose of our show is to give inspiration and to teach skills with which to handle the emotional upheavals in which everybody ends up from time to time. Today, we are in the second part of the new miniseries, Taming the Emotional Ogre. And today's title is, What Will You Do Today Will Be Seen Forever. I'm Margarita Crystal Lotus, an intuitive life and business mentor who helps professional women overcome emotional overwhelm and stress and restore their energy so they can have fulfilling relationship and also make their career flourish.
Yeah, thank you, Margarita. And I am the co-host. I am Heidi Hörnlein, and I'm a transformational coach. And I'm the owner of Paradiso Integrale, the place where we are living here together with my beautiful husband, Mark Davenport. And he wanted to join this conversation today because he has already engaged on the event page. So our special guest today is Meloney Hall. She is the owner and the CEO of Big Uptick Social Marketing. And she has really a sincere concern for the digital dignity of the young people. Many of you know Meloney by the Hangout show she's running regularly, like the Lights on Monday evening, Lights and Camera, and I think something else. And you are also there in the Women in Business today. And Meloney has expressed her deep desire to want to know how this topic is dealt with in Europe, and that's why I thought I wanted to invite somebody who knows a little bit more about that, because I actually don't have children and I don't very much be in connection with these young people of today. So I invited Sue from England. Sue is, I think, very well known now in this community of Hangout people for her wonderful music hangouts. She is playing the violin, and only last Sunday we had a wonderful concert from the whole Aston family. So welcome.
Thank you.
And welcome, Meloney. I forgot to call you in to say welcome.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Margarita.
And so we are now for three different generations. We are the grandparents, sort of.
Old enough to do it anyway.
Yeah, and Sue is the generation of the parents, and we have somebody in the generations of the youth, and this is Paulo Destilo. He lives nearby and is the son of very good friends of. Hi, Paulo. He is not an average Italian already, fact that he is speaking English very well, and Spanish, and Dutch, and Italian, and a little bit of German, and what else? I don't know. Anyway, he is a little bit already in his young years a citizen of the world. And yeah, Paulo, thank you to be here and to have learned how to join Hangouts for this occasion. Okay.
Before we dive into the topic, I'd like to ask you to post your comments or questions here below on the event page. We'd like to interact with you live. If you are now watching the video, please don't hesitate to write here too. We will read and write and answer to all your comments. Take it away, Heidi.
Sure, we will. So let's dive into the topic. What you do today will be seen forever. Meloney, would you like to tell us a little bit your concern about that? I imagine, let's take that as a preamble, I imagine that when we are emotionally aroused, you know, and we do something which we wouldn't like to do, for instance, hit an animal or have a naked photo of us, and when these are posted, on the internet, that might be a problem.
Yeah, it's a very, very big concern, Heidi, and all the viewers. What I tagged as digital dignity. I've been involved with social media for a number of years, and I've seen the good, bad, and ugly of how things happen. But the event that happened with a young gentleman years ago, he is still paying for the bad impression it left on the world, who still clicks on his material. And what this was, he was cruel to an animal, and he bludgeoned it. He killed it, and spurred on by his buddies who were filming it. So, you know, when you get into this crowd mentality, you know, the emotions go very, very high, and when they're cheering you on, you tend to do these things that you're not really thinking through as a youth. So he did this very, very bad video. So he shared it among his Facebook. His friends shared it among Facebook and Twitter. You know, the thing was out of control. And what happened was, even though he realized much later that he wanted to take that video down, it was still, you don't have any control over who shares what and what people still have. And once people see something from you, especially the youth, or these things that at the time they seem funny and adventurous and daring, once people get that impression in your mind, it's very, very hard to get that out of their impression about you. So years have passed since he did this terrible thing in public and on film, and he is now in his late 20s, and it was difficult. He had a very difficult time getting into the college he wanted, the degree he wanted. He's now married, but it was a dangerous, long road. Now, wherever that video still is, you know it's still out there, because even though he pulled it off, whoever shared that, you know, exponentially, so there could have been exposed to 1,000 or more people, they still have that impression of him, and he's still a growing young man. So his digital dignity was compromised, and that was the event where I said, no more. The young people all over the world have to realize that when they get into this crowd mentality, to stop and take control of the situation and say, please do not tape that, do not share that. They have to do this for themselves.
Yeah, this is a very important insight, you know, and I wonder how many young people know about that, how many people even think about that. And that's why I would ask Paolo for first, how far are you aware that whatever is posted on the internet, on the social media, will be there forever, even if you take it down, but somebody else will have spread it out, and you cannot control that. Are you aware of that? Oops, is he here? Paolo?
Can you hear us, Paolo?
I think he's still figuring out.
I'm sorry, I'm just.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm now back, hopefully. But
Okay, yeah.
yeah, I'm sorry.
We were asking you, how far are you aware that everything which is posted on social media, you have no control about it, and that will really be there forever. Even in 20 years, somebody takes out a video from you. Look how you were 20 years ago. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, that's why you be careful.
Paolo, pick the camera,
especially when
pick
you
the
go
camera
up.
up so we can hear you. Can you?
You don't? Do you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better.
You hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I was saying that you should be. Some are aware about the fact that if they post pictures, they will always stay there, and especially when they go out, because when they go out, many go out and drink, and then post unnecessary pictures, which could one day be reused again for or her at for job interviews.
Oh, he's not so really good with the internet, I guess.
Yeah, it's lagging.
Yeah. Would you like to take over, Sue, and talk about your sons?
Well, yes. I mean, I've got two sons, aged 15 and 21. And yes, it is a concern, really. You know, when we were young, we could kind of much do what we wanted, really. And if we were silly, it was never recorded, was it? But nowadays, especially with people having cameras on their phones, everything can be very easily recorded. And I think it's easy as well to set people up to do something, isn't it, for a joke? And luckily my boys have been absolutely fine, but you just never know, do you? You never really know who's taking a picture of you. And I mean, people have even taken pictures of me and I wasn't aware that they'd taken a picture of me. Someone took a picture of me driving my car because they were in the car in front, and they turned around on the back seat, took a photograph and posted it to someone that I knew, and I had no idea that that had happened. And it's very difficult to ever let your guard down just doing ordinary things, because you just don't know who's watching you or taking a picture or how it could be manipulated, really, do you? It is a concern.
Yeah, here is a nice comment I would like to bring up. We used to joke in the 80s when we would do dumb stuff. There goes my political career. And in the 80s, it was not really as dangerous as it is now. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, and you know, I know some people think of my diligence in helping young people to guard their digital dignity. I think they think that I'm putting out red flags and saying don't participate. That's not entirely true. That's half true. I say please be careful in what you participate in, because similar to when they started Snapchat. Snapchat is that service where you can take a picture, and then when you send it, it only stays on the view of someone else for like 6 seconds, and then it goes away. That's what they think. It does not go away. You know, people have time on their phones to take a screenshot of what's on their phone at that time. So if you Snapchat a compromising picture of, and you know what this word is, sexting. That's texting, but it's sexting because you're taking pictures of inappropriate parts of your body, and you think that's cool and funny, and you say, wow, well, this is only going to be a 6-second flash. Well, you're hoping so, because whoever receives that 6-second flash, they also can be very fast on their phone, their smartphone, to hit screenshot, and then they have that image for themselves, and then they can share that out. So, you know, if you want to use technology, use it very, very smartly and manipulate it in a way that is that makes you more attractive and intelligent, rather than someone manipulating it in a way that makes you look ignorant and cruel, or ignorant and cruel and not bright.
Yeah, here's a comment again from Brian, who is saying more or less what you said just now, Melanie. So, actually, I have never known about these things. I have a smartphone now for half a year, and I still don't know how to use it. So.
You guys are all safe. Don't worry about her.
And here's my own.
Well, you know, I used to work in HR, and I used to work for a recruiting company, and uh, these days when we have our digital footprint, and what that is everything we do online. If we have a LinkedIn profile, a Facebook profile, Google, Twitter, anything we do online, anything, and that is saved, employers can look and find things you post. They can see your pictures, and I'm telling you that recruiters especially, they will make a snap decision based on what pictures and posts you put out there that are available. And you may think that your Facebook stuff is very private. It's not private if the recruiter happens to have a Facebook account and he could see just a little snapshot of you and a few posts. And what they gather from that, they see if you use abundant curse words, if you are insulting or demeaning to others, if the majority of your pictures are drunk images and inappropriate images. They will make a snap decision in 10 seconds or less, and they will move on to the next candidate, because who you are online, you can fairly be judged on what kind of employee you're going to be. And I want to mention that this, you can Google this. I don't know what country this was in, but it happened. It was in the news yesterday, and it was something that happened Monday. There is a woman, her name, last name is Kelly, K-E-L-L-Y, 22 years old, worked at a restaurant. She was complaining about someone who left. She was a wait staff. Somebody who left her a very bad tip, and she complained about it on her Facebook page. But what she didn't know was that person she complained about was a former classmate from high school. Well, when management from that restaurant found out, they fired her, and she's a mommy of a little baby. And that's the kind of, you know, even though we can get on issues and say that was very wrong what the restaurant did firing her, it still happened.
Yeah. Yes.
Quite often people make an example of you, don't they? They kind of, you know, will fire you or bring you up and tell you off in front of everybody just to, you know, worry other people that they won't do the same thing. I think that can happen quite often, can't it, nowadays?
So just make an example of someone. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There was the comment of Phil. Phil, do you want to say it? Because Margarita has taken it off. Or I will. Okay. I will go to it. As we go through life, we can collect emotional baggage. How we deal with that is general and internal process. However, our digital baggage is often out there in places we are unaware of and much harder to change, if ever we can change it. But we have no influence on what other people think of us. You know, even there is a saying in German, when you once have ruined your reputation, you can do everything.
That's a good way of looking at it. I remember just 2 or 3 years ago, I was so enthralled about the implications of transparency, of the fact that our governments could no longer keep secrets from us, you know, and it only has come to my, which I thought was a great thing, and I still do, but it's only come to my awareness recently that I am transparent too. It's not something I choose to do. I am transparent whether I want to be or not. And whatever I do is known. Fortunately, I'm not looking for a job anymore, okay?
Yeah. So we come a little bit to this conclusion, like transparency. Imagine everybody would be transparent. So every lie would come out. This would educate us to really be real, everybody, and not make strange things and try to manipulate others. We couldn't do that anymore. And in some way, it's a good idea. But I don't know if we are all ready to be transparent. We even cheat ourselves, you know. And so How can we not cheat others?
And you know,
this,
we
yeah.
get tied up in that emotional speed. You know, social media, things happen very, very quickly, and people want to be the first to share. It's this emotional high. It's like, I was the first to share. I was the first to tell you this. Or when they see things go viral, they take pride because their emotion was like way up here, and they just like shot it out. And we just need to, you know, when it comes to sharing things about people and about young people, and especially people who really have big plans in their life, and it could just be sidetracked if people do not care about their dignity, digital dignity, or they want to ruin the digital dignity of others. We have to slow down that emotional craving we have of being the first to share it to the world.
Meloney, can I ask you the question from L. Hubbard? Any suggestions for explaining digital dignity to teens? Because they don't think that it won't happen to them. Can you talk about that for a bit?
Well, I don't think I wish there were more programs. I can't even name one program that helps children know about digital dignity. School doesn't have time to teach it. Religion doesn't really have time to teach it, whatever religion you're in. Parents have the ultimate responsibility to understand it so they can teach it, because after all, they should be the most influential people in their lives. So maybe it's a point of when we have parents who understand digital dignity, of thinking forward and protecting your image, your reputation with your digital footprint. Anything that happens online, the parents know how best to talk to their child, just like a parent should know how best to talk to their child about drugs and every other vice, you know, that could be available to them. Digital dignity can also be considered a vice when it's mismanaged. So maybe if it's up to the parents, then maybe there'll be programs to help more children understand. But right now, besides me, I feel like I'm the lone voice sometimes, and I'm not very popular with it either. You know, people don't want to hear me talk about digital dignity. They really don't, and probably because it hurts or it reaches, you know, touches home too much.
We have a comment from Brian Shea here, and L. Yeah, so they're trying to pull up some content of your own from the years ago that showed the past recorded, and grab screenshot of some of the stupid comments on Facebook and show how even if the post is deleted, can still be out there. Did I get that right? This is from Brian Shea.
Thank you. And I would like, in this context, ask Sue how she is handling that. She has the sons in this age. I mean, even I think with this education to digital awareness, probably today you have to begin with 5 or 6 or something. But tell me a little bit how you are handling that.
Well, it's very difficult, isn't it? And almost it's a bit of an unknown quantity. Yes, and everybody always has a device of some sort. Everybody always has a phone. You're never really alone in a room, are you, with just people? There's always somebody there who can take a photo of you or even record you talking. And I think the thing is, you just have to just be very aware of that fact, and just be very careful, and also be careful that you don't have too much to drink, that you don't dare each other to do silly things. I suppose that's just a sensible thing to suggest to your children, because, you know, if you do behave inappropriately and if you are silly and you get drunk, it's going to be so much worse nowadays, isn't it? It's always recorded and everyone can see what you've done. It's never going to go away.
So do you have the experience that your sons are, according to that, are they behaving, and how do their friends?
Hopefully so. I mean, I suppose the one good thing about it as a parent is that you can see what your children are up to by looking at Facebook. So that's like the one good thing, is that you can see what they've been getting up to. I've probably just blown my cover now. But, but yes, I mean, there is that. You can kind of keep an eye on them and make sure that there's nothing inappropriate going up there. But just a case of being sensible, isn't it, and respecting other people and just behaving as you should behave, and then you'll be okay. So fingers crossed, and watch this space. Hopefully it'll all be okay.
Yeah, I think there's two directions this could go in this upcoming generations, now and in the future. We'll either see people behaving more responsibly because of digital dignity, and they're aware of their digital footprint and the legacy they're leaving online, or it could go the other way, and it's just going to spiral way out of place, because there will be a tipping point, the point of no return, where it just gets too crazy and it's too big. So right now, maybe we're at that fork in the road where we decide, or the generation that's upcoming can decide, do they want to be in control, and everybody learns how to behave more respectfully since everything's recorded, or are we going to go on the other side of that fork and it's going to spiral out of control? And remember, even though you could be in a room where there may be no one in there where has a digital device to record you in any way, there are the cameras, security cameras, that are all over in libraries and shopping centers and even on the streets, that somewhere, somehow, you will be recorded. So just behave. Just behave.
Well, I'm thinking this could instill a lot of fear in many people. Like, oh my goodness, I have all of these devices that going on all the time. And so what I would kind of suggest here is to be yourself, at least. You know, show your children to be yourself. And if you come from that place of being yourself and be kind, let's say, I think that's the safest way, because if we're saying, oh, this is dangerous, this digital thing, the digital baggage, somebody says, I like that term. But if we actually teach our children to be responsible and actually do good things, then it doesn't matter what they do, and because it shows that genuinity. What do you have to say about that, Meloney?
I'm glad that you brought that up, because you know, if we define what behavior is acceptable generally, being silly is okay. We can laugh, we can sing, we can dance, we could do harmless pranks, but what crosses that line is when we harm others or any form of life. If we are harming animals, people, if we are if we are committing crimes, doing these dangerous, life-threatening dares, then that's how we can judge what activities are innocently recorded and part of our legacy, as opposed to those that can be, you can be criminally locked up for what you've done.
Yeah, I would like to go back to teach your children, you said. How do you teach children to do that? Because, I mean, the schools are full of rules, and what children like is to transgress the rules and not to do it. I think in this case we are, even this is a sort of protection we need to adopt. It is not only about teaching, but protect them. Now it's not anymore protect the children by bringing them with the car to school so they cannot be overrun by the cars or something like that, but this is a different, very important place where they need protection. What do you think about that?
I think it's, yeah, Paula's here. I think it's time where for little ones, maybe some web developers out there should start developing fun game-type apps for the very young. Just like when young children learn their colors and their numbers, maybe there could be an app where they learn about digital dignity. They learn, you know, hit yes or no if this is appropriate. Maybe there could be cartoons or movies where digital dignity is a focus, because children learn by that. And those are great aids for parents if they just would exist.
And it would also, now Paolo is here, it would also be a nice thing if the older children or the young men like Paolo, he has a little sister, be an example for that, and make, you know, inside the family, make it clear that these things can happen. Paolo, unfortunately, you have lost a little bit of the session. It is about how can young people become aware of the footprint they are leaving, if they want or not. That is just there outside in the digital world. What would you say?
Well, it's difficult because when you're young, you don't often listen to your parents, and that is mostly it. But some basic rules you need to learn them, because otherwise you're not going anywhere. And also, especially on the internet, because it's full of interesting things, but also tricky things, where you say like a child, you can go to a site and see, oh, you won 100 million euros, the classical commercial that you click on it and then give personal information, which then is used for no good. Well, for, an idea could be like at school, especially, to give some lessons about how to use the internet, and what the good things are and what the bad things should not be touched. I mean, like, and then also, especially now with smartphones, be real careful with the pictures you take, and especially with you were talking about nude pictures, and that is a really difficult topic, because it's often like some girls like 13, 14 years old, and they get in touch with a guy who is older than me or my age, and tries to get something not nice, like dirty, out of her, and and then afterwards he can threaten her, or otherwise, like, it can be also a girl that threatens a boy, but that doesn't happen so often, but it can happen. And I remember I always learned to not go on the chat with people that I didn't know. So, I mean, like, to not talk to strangers. And also on the internet, that rule. Excuse me.
Can you switch off your camera again? We cannot.
Yes. I'm sorry, the connection really is not the best for my place. Hear me or not?
We hear you, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. At the moment, everybody takes pictures all day long, and especially now with Snapchat, it's a fun application, because you can just send pictures that you don't want to be seen by other people, but just by this one. Like, you take crazy pictures of yourself, like in making a strange face, but you can also get in trouble through it, because the pictures are not gone at all. They still are in the database, and the people can just take a snapshot of the picture, and then can do whatever they want to, and kind of ruin your life, because it happens, and people get like they ruin their lives when they're real young, like 14 years old or 16, and then they cannot do anything. And well, that should be so I'm coming to a point that you need to inform the parents about they have to aware their children about it, and also the schools, like through school programs and teaching how to use the internet and different applications.
Is this happening in Italy, Paolo?
Yes, sometimes happens that a pic of a girl that is nude gets on the internet, and then it goes viral. Yeah,
Sure.
it's not.
I meant education about digital dignity. Are they doing it in your school?
No, they don't. I don't have ever seen any programs for the safe traveling internet guide, except when I was 6, when I was at school, in elementary school. That was the only time when I learned about what you should be aware about and what you should not do.
This was the very beginning of internet in Italy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But I remember there were already cases of people that were getting through problems with chats and Messenger and this different applications to write to people, and then they would get in trouble and getting involved. And the reason why I was saved, I mean, it wasn't through my parents, because they always told me off to not give too many personal information, and that's why when I need to sign up to something, I always think about it and try to think about another way around. I mean, like, to see if it's possible with less giveaway, because at the end now we don't have any more privacy, which is kind of sad, but it's also, yeah, it's strange, because some people don't want any privacy, but others want to be closed off the world. And yeah, I don't know what to talk about now at the moment.
It's
but
okay.
It was helpful.
Yeah, Paolo, and it's fine that you have already adopted this view, because we were talking before about what you brought up, these Snapchat, yeah. And you came by yourself to this notion. This is really good. This is idea of how to handle it. Here's a comment, and I think this is very, very important. We should really be aware of that.
Brian Shea.
Yeah, Brian Shea. We should build our character. And at what you said before, I think, Margarita, tell the truth all the time. You know, don't tell lies, and be yourself. Be authentic you. So and become the best version of yourself, I would say, too, and not show the not so good versions of yourself in public, and try to get them better and better until you are an authentic and very, how can you say, a good person. Yeah, because I believe that in our hearts we are good people, and we have some aggressive moments, yes, for sure, but you know, it's part of humanity. But as soon as we are aware of that, and that's where the emotional intelligence comes in, we need to learn emotional intelligence. When the bad emotions come up, we need to have a way to hold them so that they don't come out and do harm to others. And this is the first thing. You know, this is what spiritual teachers try to teach us all the time. Don't do harm to other people, other animals, other creatures, and so on. But now we have a reinforcement by the internet that we really have to not do harm to others, because it would always fall back onto us. That's very old teaching, but now we have to. Isn't it good in some way?
Yeah, it definitely brings awareness in, and we have to decide. We can decide what we do with our legacy, and our legacy begins when you're born. You know, it doesn't. People think, oh, my legacy starts when I'm 40 or 50. No, it started, you know, on your birthday, your original birthday. It started. But I did want to mention too that the only remedy you have if you have or you are or you were being destroyed by someone manipulating your digital dignity, you know, there's reputation management companies out there that for a really chunky fee, they will try their best to clean up what happens in search results, what shows up on you, but that's only a little bit because they are not in control what happens when Aunt Mildred shared to Uncle Bob, you know, who shared from Cousin Richard all this stuff. So if you're willing to have a frivolous youth and then you want to repair it, please start stashing away your dollars now because it's going to cost you a couple thousand to fix it. If you can fix it.
I wanted to mention another thing that my older niece did with her younger sister. On Facebook, she was not very old at that time. First year or so when she actually had a Facebook page, then some older guy came on and wrote very nasty things. And she didn't know what to do. So her older sister told her, just delete that guy. Just delete that guy. You're not going to have this on. And so she actually taught her younger sister a little bit of the etiquette that you can't have a friend that slanders you or say inappropriate things. Just remove them from your page at least.
Yeah. And I think that's the hard thing for someone who emotionally needs to feel connected. You know, our inner self has this deep need to feel belonging. And I think that's why we do really weird and silly, on-the-spot, daring things when we're in the company of people we trust, like our friends. And they dare you, they dare you, they dare you. And because we have that thing like, well, if I don't do this, then I won't belong anymore. So we should try to balance what is at what cost are you giving away just to belong to that crowd of people who are encouraging you to do negative things.
So we are out of time almost, and I would like to wrap that up a little bit. So thank you, Melanie and Sue and Paolo and Margarita for putting up the comments. Thank you very much. And before we end, I would like to give to everybody the possibility to say the last word. Just jump in.
Yeah.
Do you want to jump in?
I always like to jump in first. It's on Facebook that way. But no, I'm hearing this fear kind of ruling the day here, you know, the terrible concerns, the terrible things that can happen and so forth. And while that's true, you know, I think at a certain age, that fear doesn't matter to kids.
It doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter because that's the level of development they've reached, and it's not real. You know, like at a certain age, death isn't real. It's something that happens to other people. You know, so when we go about this trying to scare people into behaving, I think we're going to all suffer consequences from that approach. So I really hope that we don't necessarily feel like we have to attack the problem directly, but we need to worry about building character so that the person that we display ourselves in public and in private, you know, that person is a good person and doesn't really have any reason to fear any kind of exposure or any kind of outing of themselves, because nothing terrible has happened. Nothing, but it's okay. Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Can I follow with, in my closing words, thank you for having me on. And I want to leave the encouraging word that use your digital dignity to build a positive digital footprint of yourself. You are in control of what the world sees of you. So take advantage of that. Embrace it, and make sure you take pictures of yourself doing great things. Be involved in great programs and humanitarian or just doing good things and being happy and cheerful, because digital dignity, I know we talked a lot about the negative outcomes, but you know what? The whole thing rests upon you are in control of it. So you take control of it and drive down the road you want to go. Not the way the people push you, but where you want to go with your legacy.
Well said. I agree with that entirely. Well done, Meloney. I would say respect yourself, respect others, and just try and be the best version of yourself that you can be anyway, and then you've got nothing to fear. Enjoy yourself in moderation.
Oh, Paolo disappeared shortly before the last word.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Margarita, you want to go?
Yes, I wanted to say something here about that, and that's my work too, that this is a healing journey, and if you have fears, they need to be removed for you to be happy. And when a person inspires other people to do that, then you become a leader, let's say, a role model for other kids. If you go with a good example before them, and that is very inspiring. So anything that you can inspire anybody else with is a good thing. You don't have to go out and do silly things. It could be having a joke, whatever. But inspiration is what I would leave you guys with.
Thank you, Paolo. Closing word.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just as everybody else said, put the best of yourself into what you want people to see, and try to make a diary, because that's what it is at the moment. The social media and everything is just a personal photo album of yourself, and you can see how you get better, or you can see the different periods of your life, and just try to get every time higher and higher with your own expectations, and try to reach them, and follow your dreams. Yeah.
Thank you, Paolo. Yeah, and thank you, all of you. It was really a very inspiring topic. And my idea, my closing word would be, become emotionally intelligent and become happy by that. Okay, so we are at the end of the show. We welcome you at 3 o'clock next Thursday again to a new show, and every week. And in 2 weeks, I'm sure we will have Sue here with us, talking about emotion and music. Next week will be emotion and art. Isn't it so, Margarita?
Yes, we're going to talk about emotions expressed into art and creative activity that opens our creative center.
Okay, so thank you for staying with us and giving us your time for listening to such a really important topic. All right, let's become our best selves, everybody of us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.